everyone, today we are in the Spanish town Cordoba and we are going to explore what we can do here during winter.
Cordoba is an old Roman settlement taken over by the Visigoths, followed by the Muslim conquest in the 8th century and later becoming the capital of the Umayyad Caliphate of Cordoba. During these Muslim periods, Cordoba was transformed into a world-leading center of education and learning, producing figures such as Averroes, Ibn Hazm and Al-Farabi. And by the 10th century it had grown to be the second largest city in Europe. Following the Christian conquest in 1236, it became part of the Crown of Castile. This mixture of history is what you will find back in its city, and especially around its most famous site.
Maybe one of the most important places to visit in Cordoba is its Mosque Cathedral. It will cost you 11 euros to visit and another 4 euros if you want to have the audio guide. We're just going to enter the mosque or cathedral and figure out how interesting this place is to visit. It's such a strange place here, this mosque cathedral. It's a combination of architecture that you see in Christian time, mosque time. So in 792, an Israeli guy, which I can't pronounce, he fled Syria at that time. 5 years later, he arrived in Spain. A year later, he conquered Cordoba, and at that time here there was a church. And because he settled down here, the Muslim community started to grow, and he needed a bigger mosque. So he purchased the church from the Christian community and started to create a mosque on top of this place. And some of the pillars that you see as well have been reused from at that time the church that was in place. So the reason why this place looks so interesting and mixed with architecture is because the Romans built this as a church in the 6th century. Then the guy that I talked about you before, who conquered Cordoba, created this as a mosque in 756. Then the Spanish took this back in 1146. Then the Muslims came back again, took over this place, created a mosque again, and then in 1246 this finally became a church as it is today. And 3 years later, it became a cathedral. You can really see the different changes this place went through if you look at the pillars. Because when you look up to them, you can see some are in the style from the Gothic time period, some are in Roman style. So they really made good use of the materials they had available at that time. So if you want to visit this mosque, you don't need any time more than 3 hours. We entered this at 11. At that time there were the tour groups around here. Now it's 2:30 and it seems pretty quiet and the tour groups have been gone. So in the end it was very interesting to visit this place and just see the history changing over time. So many different architecture inside, and I've never seen a cathedral and a mosque inside and see just both of those religions coming together. An interesting piece of history, but let's explore a bit more about Cordoba.
Besides the Mosque Cathedral, another major site in Cordoba is Alcazar de los Reyes Christianos, better known as Alcazar of Cordoba. The fortress served as one of the primary residences of Isabel I of Castile and Ferdinand II of Aragon. And also here you will find some important historical moments back when you walk around the grounds.
So the statue behind me shows the King and Queen and Christopher Columbus, because Christopher Columbus had here one of his first meetings to discuss his plan to sail around the world and discover new areas for Spain. So we almost finished our visit to the Alcazar, which took us around 1.5 hours. It only costs 5 euros to enter, so it's definitely worth visiting. It's not a lot of money for what you get, but unfortunately the weather is not that great. It's quite foggy. I can't even see the fortress in the background, but the main bit of the area are the gardens, and they still look nice with the flowers, the fountain in the background, some fishes that you can play with by putting your hand above it and they come around you. The only sad bit is about this place is it doesn't really give you any historical context. There are some descriptions in one room about the mosaics that are hanging there, but that's all in Spanish. And I couldn't really find anything more written about this place. So that's a bit sad, but still, for only €5, definitely worth visiting.
When you walk around the city, you will discover the beautiful patios that the city has, but also the Roman remains. From the old Roman bridge constructed in the early 1st century before Common Era, to the remains of an old Roman temple. When you pass the old Roman temple, you are able to visit Plaza de La Corredera.
If you visit Plaza de La Corredera, on there you will find a market which is very nice to visit. Very nice local shops, from fish shops to some fruit stalls, but also a very nice meat shop where we bought some salami.
What you need to do in any city is just to get lost, and no better way to do that in Cordoba by strolling around the Jewish quarter, which is located around the Cathedral Mosque.
It's nice when you have finished your day exploring to the old Jewish area to end up at the riverside with the old Roman bridge in the background, the sunset happening right behind it. It really gives a nice reflection on the river.